Morning, everybody. Hope you guys are doing well on this beautiful Wednesday, Knoxville morning. Dan, how you doing?
I'm doing fine. I seem like I'm frozen there.
No, you're not frozen.
Okay.
I can hear you.
Okay,
You look
good.
great. You look great.
All right.
And even if you were frozen with that UT sweatshirt on, we'd be fine with that.
That's right. Go Vols.
Go Vols. So, Dan, you care real quick if I just listen to some blues music this morning?
Sure. Oh boy. Yes. I love it. Love it. Yeah.
Every morning at 8:45 Eastern, Option Omega's got your back. Troy's dreaming big like LeBron. Matt's back testing like a daddy Mac. Dan's 30 years got our way, trading life and markets every day. Rusty's chained to the mines, digging deep day by day. But when Option Omega releases new features, he's free to come out and play. Option Omega, you're trading home, where every move makes you feel less alone.
Like it. I enjoy it. Do it every day. Oh. All right. We got the 0-day rundown today. Two things, Dan, on the agenda. I saw this morning. I thought it was pretty funny. You're not going to believe this, Dan. President Trump might change some of his mind on tariffs.
I can't believe it. I cannot believe it, Troy.
So this is from CNBC this morning. Trump says tariff coming in April will probably be more lenient than reciprocal. Two quotes that are just so. I mean, really, it's pretty funny to me.
Yeah.
I'll probably be more lenient than reciprocal, because if I was reciprocal, that would be very tough for people.
Wow.
I know there are some exceptions, and it's in an ongoing discussion, but not too many. Not too many. Not too many exceptions. So that, if you're the market, if you're Mr. Market as a whole, you have to look at that and be like, well, I guess no. What does that even mean? None of that means anything.
It doesn't mean anything. And it's just, he's basically saying, I'm open for business. Let's make a deal. Right. And let's go from there. But for the market, I just think they get so wigged out. Don't you think? I mean, but you think it's got to be, okay, you've had a month of the tariffs. I still think VIX is saying, you know what, as my Irish grandmother would say, you're full of malarkey, right?
Yeah.
In a nice way. It's just saying, hey, we're not going to, every time you say something, it's like the boy who cried wolf or whatever, after, and I think that, I just think it's, I mean, I can't even believe he came up with those words, because that doesn't sound like, when Trump is talking with a microphone, he doesn't talk like that, does he? More lenient than reciprocal, because if I was reciprocal, that would be tough for, I don't know. That just sounds like,
It's so, I mean, saying that to say, I guess the big date apparently is April 3rd, April 4th, when tariffs are supposed to go on.
Yeah.
It's one of those days. So, I mean, I was thinking about this going to bed last night. Like if I was going to do like a longer term DC, I would choose that as like the anchor, whatever date that is.
Right.
And sell the shorts against it,
Right. It's like being long, with 2-3 months before earnings, even though the vol is starting to get pumped up in those expirations affected by earnings. If you're long it, the vol will stay up.
Oh yeah.
Because that's a date. And I think that's a good idea, being, if you're long some of the after April 3rd or April 3rd or beyond, the vol shouldn't go down that much.
No, until April 3rd or 4th, that's
it. But during, I mean, it's like, negotiations are going on every day here. right? It's just
Oh, yeah.
saying, he's just putting a limit for the deal's got to be done. But, and don't you think that a lot of these countries and stuff, they're more than used to it, right? They know kind of the gamemanship and whatever. And it's a big game for those guys, right?
Yeah, that's right.
I just love the tuck. It makes me want to start watching some of the Godfather, Al Pacino, or Scarface, or whatever.
Yeah.
It just, because it does seem like it's just this tough talking, 70-year-old men. Here's what I'm going to do. Oh yeah, watch this. Here's what I'm going to do.
That's right.
With countries behind them.
That's right. I think that's exactly right. And if anybody's seen the Godfather series, it doesn't end well.
No, it doesn't.
I don't want to give anything away. But anyway, all right. Next up, the market is balancing. This is a market profile chart. This is, I think it's a good way to look at it just because this is since Monday. And you get 1 day of non-movement. Yesterday was a day where we just didn't move a lot. And you get people starting to say, hey, if the market was really confident, we would be going up still.
Yeah.
And that cracks me up because we went up 100 points Monday.
Right.
Like to think you're going to go up another 100 points yesterday.
Yeah.
The market is never that confident. There's a few times. Maybe like I remember one of the post elections. Well, actually the last two post elections. You get a month of just pretty ridiculous moves up.
Yeah.
But overall, the market doesn't go up 50 to 100 points a day.
No, with the exception being, again, I think I was going to call the trump card here.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to use this, but with the market down 650 points in less than a month, we've come back, 2 or 250. So some speed is expected as we come back up. But I agree with you. Now it just seems like it's a little bit of a whimpering. Is this ES or is this SPX?
This is ES.
Okay, so they're saying it looks like a lot of the action is around that 50. Well, it just keeps going up a little bit.
It just keeps, it's just balancing higher. It just kind of, we haven't gone back down. We haven't given anything up since that gap Monday. We could today, we could close down 100. I don't know what we're going to do, but it looks to me from what I'm seeing is that the market's just kind of balancing. That doesn't mean it's going to go higher or go lower, but the market has times where it just kind of, it's an auction. So it's kind of a slow auction right now. People are trying to figure out what direction.
Yeah. And as you said, Troy, with this, when you have an auction like that, and I think of slow upward moving, as I speak to you, I can hear this sound.
Yeah. That's right.
That's timed volatility.
That's
when you
vol.
talk slow upward moving, and you look at VIX, 17.23. This is an amazing number to me. In the sense that a week and a half ago, intraday, we hit 29. And so this is big. And I still, my opinion, for whatever that's worth, would be, I just think there's too much on the table that I think 15, 16 might be the low end over the next month. Could we go to 13 or 14? Yeah, anything can happen. If we continue the slow grind up here for 2 more weeks, absolutely. But I don't think so. And I think, yesterday, I'll just say this, as I was talking to different people got like conspiracy theory crazy because they're looking, wait a second, 25, you look at the range yesterday compared to the last month, we've had some of the biggest ranges in the history of civilization, probably the last 4 or 5 weeks, 100-point ranges every day in the SPX. Yesterday was 23 points, right?
Yep.
23 points. So people looked at that and people just couldn't handle it. I'm like, This is good. If you're doing a range bound, you finally got a good day.
That's what you wanted.
Day, cleaned it. Everybody did wonderful, but it's like something's coming, right? And it could be, but we can grind for a while. Volatility can stay low a lot longer than vol can stay high. You have some catalysts on the table. The only big catalyst this week is just Friday, right? The PCE but we're literally dribbling up, which means, lower volatility. But,
That's right.
you
No, I
know,
think you're
it's,
right. I think you're right. I think that's the name of the game. And I mean, to the conspiracy, like there is always something happening. Like
yeah,
the market will not just stay in a 23-point range forever. Also, the market will not stay in a 100-point range forever. Like something's always happening. We're either reverting or we're going back, and so
well, and I think a lot of people used to the 25 VIX or the 24, they're having a little bit of a tiffy fit, right?
that's right.
That this 17 vol stinks. Like I had someone, a couple people yesterday on the 0-day iron condors, and they're like, wow, there's only 65 points between the two short strikes, whereas a week and a half ago there's 220. And it's all relative, right? It doesn't mean it's, but yesterday's iron condors won wonderful.
That's
And
right.
it was narrower, so it's all relative. But
That's exactly right.
yeah.
Well, speaking of relative, we've got some relative tests. We're continuing on our 1 day iron fly. I say 0 day because yesterday, I'll share my screen, we improved upon the test by making it a 0 day. Now, it's still a 1 day contract, but we were getting out the same day. We're getting out at 3:49 p.m. And as we said yesterday, we're going to continue to improve on it. And the way we're going to improve on it today, Dan, is we're going to add some guardrails to it. The guardrails that we're going to add are delta. Now, Dan, you have taught a lot of people, lots and lots and lots of people. And one of the things I remember when I was learning from you is to think in terms of the Greeks. Not just pick an arbitrary thing, but try to think in terms of the Greeks.
Yeah.
So what this trade is doing is it is simply getting in, or at the same time, everything's the same, but we're getting out when the delta is below 35 or above 35. So real quick, before we talk about specifics of delta, what are your thoughts about getting out of a trade like this, a range-bound trade with deltas?
Oh, it's fantastic because it's the Greek. So this is position deltas, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
So assume the way you look at this is you put a 1 lot on and you were looking at a chart, what the position delta is going to look at in your, if this was the only trade you had in your account, what's the delta?
And when the position deltas get minus 35 on the upside, you close down the ship. When they get long 35 on the upside, you close. Absolutely. We do that every day. I mean, because that's really, when you look at a graph like Troy just mentioned, you can see clearly where you're getting into trouble, when you look at a graph, where the 0 day graph, like a sledding hill in the north in Chicago, where that curve starts going down, right? And that's where and then you kind of see, and then the P&L loss starts getting big quickly. So you can look at a graph and get an idea with the deltas where you're going to get in trouble, especially as you focus, like in this example, you just took a 1 contract. So I think, whether you do it by position deltas or in strategies like iron butterflies or iron condors or whatever you're doing, delta per the short contract. I mean, I think there's 2 ways to do it, but I think position deltas are wonderful because and it's basically saying, hey, you're like guaranteeing risk management for someone with the rails, saying, hey, this is where you're going to start getting in a lot of trouble. I'm going to pull the ripcord at that point. Right. Because if you don't pull the ripcord and we keep going, you could give up 5 trades or 10 trades. So that's one. Yeah. Delta's a great thing to.
But folks, that's not all. We usually have been doing 1 of these a day, but my addiction to back testing would not allow me to stop this morning. I did make myself stop at a certain point, but I started looking at it, and let me show you one more thing. This is option strat. And so I've modeled out a condor, 75 wide condor on option strat. This is what it looks like at expiration. But remember, we're not taking to expiration. We're doing a 1-day trade. And so I started looking about through the trade. This is all theoretical. It's Black-Scholes, most likely. And so I wanted to look and see, like at 3 p.m., roughly 3 p.m., what are the deltas looking like on a trade like this? And what would it mean to get out at a position delta of 35? And if you look at it, you're actually letting it go. Again, these things can all, I mean, the Greeks are so complicated because everything affects each other, but this is theoretical. Assuming price hasn't moved, assuming all those things, the deltas are at 35, you're roughly 10 to 15 points away from your long strike. That's quite a bit of movement. With the 35 delta negative, you're closer. You still got 30, 40 points to go. And this is something you could play around because I did this together, but I would focus on that. I think there's some room for improvement on that upside a little bit with the delta adjustment. But I started looking and saying, where would I actually think you would want to get closer? And I started looking at these 20 deltas. So let me do this real quick. This is a new version. And what we've done is we've moved these deltas in. And so now you're getting out at below 21 or above 21 delta. Okay. I'm going to put this in the chat because I know people have asked for it. So if you're an Option Omega subscriber, you should be able to access that. And that should have the blackout dates, I believe, in it. Someone was asking about blackout dates, Stephen. So a couple things about this. A, you're winning less. All right. So let's go back to the 35 delta. You're winning 59% of the time, and you're in the trade 286 minutes with that 35. So for reference point, about an hour earlier, you're getting out than you would have if you didn't have deltas on at all. Because remember yesterday we said we're going to get out at 349. So you're getting out about an hour earlier on average with those 35 deltas. And you're winning 59% of the time. Let me go back to this. This is the new version with the 21 deltas. You're winning less, right? You're getting out more. You're getting out about 2 hours earlier than you do with the 35 delta, which just shows me that the movement, you're getting out on movement a lot faster. Now, if you look at this, you're still going to get a chance for a big payday per contract if we don't do anything. Like yesterday is the perfect example. I was telling Dan, options involve risk. They're not suitable for all investors. But I put some of these on yesterday. We had done the show, and I just had this intuition yesterday that we should throw some of these babies on there. So we threw some babies on there, and they cooked all day. I mean, by 3, I just got out because I was like, it'd make me so mad if we had a 30-point move and I lost all this because it just collected theta all day long. So you'll get days, like if you look at Tuesday, March 18th, you opened it when the price was 56.11. You closed it at 349 when the price was 56.06. You're getting a good payday from that, right? You had 3 contracts on, and so the nice thing about it is when you get stopped out, you're getting stopped out more, but the losses are going to be smaller. It's going to keep you out of trouble. And this is Dan, I mean, you've encountered this, I'm sure, 40,000 times. The emotional trade-off of winning more, but taking larger losses versus losing more and taking smaller losses is almost 100% psychological to me.
Absolutely. Totally psychological. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Dan, what do you think of the moving it in a little bit, making those 21 deltas, 35 deltas?
I love it. Especially as you're learning the trade and doing it, right? If you have 30 of these under your belt and you want to take what do they do with the cars when you ride those those cars at the carnivals. Take the governor off.
Oh yeah.
The thing. I think it's good. I had a question that I wanted to make 2 quick comments. If you filter this, Troy,
Yeah.
was there more losses? If you look at some of the losses, my guess would be they'd be more on the upside.
Oh, great question.
What did you? I'm just curious here because generally these would be a little bit starting out short delta, and I'm looking at the. But let me just see what you have here, and then I just want to.
I mean, cursory glance, it does look like they are all to the upside. I mean, not all of them, but a lot. Now you get one here that you're going to get like a massive drop real fast intraday. That there's nothing you can do about that.
Oh, that was 100-pointer.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do about that. And I imagine if I remember some of those days, those were some of those days where like at 10:30, Trump said something and the market instantly dropped 60 points.
Right. Absolutely.
There's nothing you can do.
No.
So, but overall, the below, actually, yeah, I mean, I think it's probably even, but you're probably losing more money when it gets too far above that, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Okay. My only comments, I mean, on the test, what I like about it, 2 things. Well, the 2 hours earlier, right? To be in a trade. So your average is what, 3 hours in this trade?
4 hours. 4 hours.
Yeah, 4 hours, because as you start going more, it's just more probability of moving as you go later in the day. So I don't see any reason to be in 3 hours. But the other thing is what folk could look at is where things are going to start getting ugly. And if you watch where Troy's, what I like about this is when you're doing it by position deltas, it doesn't matter whether, if you just leave, like one thing I do like these iron butterflies, I might say, okay, I'm going to adjust at position deltas or break even, whichever comes first.
Yeah.
Well, but the thing that people miss is if you go anywhere near the break evens earlier in the day, you're stinking creamed.
Yeah.
If you get to the break evens later in the day, it says the word break even, right? But what's nice about the position delta is it accounts for all that, right? It's going to, what are the, so I think that's the most practical way of doing it. But that's really where your playing field, your profitable playing field, is within your break evens. And you're going to have obviously narrower break evens in an iron butterfly than you are a iron condor.
Yeah.
And so I like this delta thing. Is Barney, what you're doing, Troy, is, and maybe when you got this idea yesterday, you were watching my favorite Barney Fife, because Barney says,
that's right.
Nip it in the bud. So you clean up those deltas. I mean, the only thing I'd like to see at some point is if we had like the, could you go a little, you have them both deltas the same. Could you tweak one to, if you do the upside at maybe, could you give more room to the downside or upside? But this seems like it's pretty good. I mean,
well, we'll play around with it tomorrow. We might show some adjustments, and I'll show tomorrow some short. If you just did the shorts, some deltas on that instead of the position itself.
Well, and you make a good point, Troy. When you're looking at this strategy, we can call it what we want. It's a one-day iron butterfly. I like the fact that I like the guardrails here. The risk management is solid. I love the fact that you're not going overnight on it. But when you really look at this, a one-day 75 wide, that's pretty wide, right?
Yeah.
Your longs are probably, if we were to look, I'm guessing your longs would be anywhere from 7 to 18 delta. So they're just out there saying, hey, if things get crazy, I'll help you. But we're selling a straddle, right?
Yeah, that's
and
right.
That's wonderful. You're selling all that juicy extrinsic value, but you have some wings just so you're not naked and paying a lot. But it is 75 wide is pretty wide, because again, your longs are going to be, your long hedges are somewhere, wouldn't you agree? Maybe 7 to 8, maybe on the call, maybe the put is 18. I don't know exactly, but I like it. I mean, this is a pure I'm selling, right? I'm just
Yeah.
give me the extrinsic value. Let me sell the most extrinsic value. I have some hedges and get out in 3-4 hours. I think you're on. I mean, this is on its way to being a successful.
Well, and the way I look at it is what happens on. I mean, the year so far has been wild as far as candles. So
Yeah,
when you have something that still shows profitability year to date, a range bound selling strategy, selling extrinsic value, more or less selling the straddle, which is very susceptible to movement,
yeah,
and you have a winning strategy. It shows me that we're on the right path. But
absolutely, absolutely. So this right here, the version in front, is this just is this
it's a
going
year to
over?
date.
Oh, this is just year to date. I got you.
Yep, year to date, first 3 months, and um, I think that the nice thing about this is we're not done yet. Like,
Oh yeah,
even getting to a 1.2, that feels like, okay, that's kinda like minimum. Like, we're start at a 1.2 MAR over a 3-year period. I start saying to myself, "Okay, we're in a good, solid trade." Is it the best trade ever? No.
right.
Is this a good, solid trade? Yes. And but we can improve on it, and we will continue doing that. So tomorrow, Dan, if it's all right, what I'm gonna do, we'll look at more of the maybe look at some different deltas, see if we can get it a little bit more
Okay.
nuanced. But then we're gonna start doing some wild things where I don't think you have to trade this every day. And in fact, Dan, I think there's some days of the week you might not want to trade this based on just history.
That's yeah. Uh, Troy, I did two quick comments. One, when you said the word wild, you can tell them all. You know what came to my mind?
My
Uh,
son.
no,
Oh,
besides,
okay.
I love Noah. Do you remember Dennis Hopper
Oh yeah.
in
Yeah.
in Born to Be Wild?
Oh yeah.
Uh, we need to get Rusty from the coal mine on the motorcycle
Yeah.
going down the road, Born to Be Wild. But I just want to say one last encouragement or see to me, I look at this as this exercise. This exercise is life, right? I don't want to get too deep, but it's life in the trading because that's what you're doing. Everybody wants to come up with one strategy that they can do, and this is how you do it. I mean, you're most students that are struggling with going north, being more consistent, they're a tweak or two away, right? And I think this process that Troy is going through each day is crucial because a lot of people give up too early instead of saying, well, wait a second. What if I tweak this? What if I tweak this? And now, and then this is only Wednesday, right? So we got Thursday and Friday to tweak it some more. But, this is what I hope people would emulate when they're working on a strategy or something is stay the course, right? In the, I'll just leave this if we have a second. In the pits, you know, again, you had to figure it out, right? Or you lose your job, right? It wasn't like we didn't have all the back testing and all these resources to say, hey, we're losing money. What's going on? We had to go in there to change something, right? A lot of times it was seat of the pants, like, all right, this ain't working. Let's
Right.
try this or try this. But you have to keep going at it. And you can't, the solution is not, okay, this isn't, which is a lot of what I see in the retail sector is, okay, I did it 3 times or 4, it's not working. This doesn't work. Let's go to the next strategy.
That's right.
That's horrible, right?
Yep.
I mean, especially if you got a basic, butterflies are real. Butterflies will still be around even if 42 retail traders say butterflies stink. They don't stink, right? It's who's at the control center, and I think this process of tweaking and working on it is helpful. So
I'll say it every day. I mean, it's a back testing tool. It shows you the historical, kind of data on this and what would happen theoretically and all this stuff. And you can look at his trade and you can say, I'm going to be rich. I feel confident in this trade. I'll let this thing ride or die. I'm going to put 10% and just not even worry about it. Right.
Yeah.
A small, and you might have so much money that 10% is nothing. Or I'm going to put 5% 2% per trade. I'm going to put 1% towards this trade. I have seen so many. I would venture to say that most people in the world can't lose 2 trades in a row without in their mind saying, this doesn't work anymore. There's something really crazy that happens to us psychologically.
Oh, and even like, for range-bound traders last month, market goes down 10%, 100-point candles. It's like, this stuff doesn't work, Dan.
To just sell it premium doesn't mean anything anymore.
Yeah, and I say, and my response is, you're 100% right if we're going to have 10% candles, 10% move downs every month the rest of your life.
Yeah.
We're going to have 100-point candles every day. And it's like, but people, again, we're emotional critters.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, selling a straddle, a naked straddle works really, really well until the day it doesn't.
Until the day you're carried out.
Yeah, until the day you're carried out. So that's why we put the wings on them, baby. But anyway, guys, thanks for hanging out with us. Tomorrow we'll continue the proof of the test, and then Friday, hopefully, we'll have a good, solid thing that we've built together. So blessings to you guys. Hope you have a great day, and we will talk to you soon. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.